Hello, I'm Gene Rossov. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is a video about the passive molecular iodine inhaler. Not a video about how it works, but rather a video about how to use it, how to take it out of the box, how to open it, how to fill it, and how to store it. When you receive your package, it will look like this. And you will see inside of the glassine window the fully assembled inhaler. It's constructed of aluminum, steel, and glass only. That's not completely true. It has some rubber seals. So you open the box like this, and you wind up with it looking like this. I'm going to take out the inhaler itself and show it to you. This is what the inhaler looks like. I've used it many times, so it has a slight yellowing of the glass container, but otherwise yours will be pristine and clear. The first thing you do upon taking it out of the box, if you want to use it, is you'll have to fill it. And you unscrew the top like this, turning it counterclockwise. It only takes 2.5 turns, so you'll wind up with two pieces. This piece, the breathing piece, and this piece, the cylinder that holds the fluid. You will have also received with your product what we call refill bottles. They look like this. Some of them are clear sometimes, but this one happens to be opaque and white. You open the top of the bottle, set the top down somewhere. You can throw the bottle away or rinse it out and save it. It's a nice little bottle. And then you take the cylinder and the bottle of fluid and pour the fluid into the cylinder, thus. Then you set the bottle down and your cylinder will look like this. You then pick up the top and set it down gently on the cylinder. Feel it so that you make sure that the threads here are not cross-threaded with the inside of the breathing piece. Feel it around, make sure that it's nice and straight. Always takes me a few seconds. And then you screw it on. And it will take, that's one turn, and a half a turn. It's only 1.5 turns. I was wrong. It's not 2.5. It's 1.5 turns. And now you'll see that, I don't know if you can see it from where you are, but you probably can. The glass dipping tube is sitting inside the iodine fluid. And then turn it around, put it in your mouth, and breathe inwards. Now you can see that I held my breath for maybe 10 or 15 seconds. You can hold it for more. That means you'll absorb a little bit more of the iodine into the alveolar segment of your lungs, and you do it again. Now, if you want to get more of the iodine vapor into your lungs, you breathe out and then you breathe in. And you hold your breath for 10 seconds, 15 seconds. You can hold it for longer. What's happening is that you're pulling air through the top section here, which is open, down through the tube, through the liquid iodine, and out the mouthpiece, the breathing tube. Again, I'm going to breathe out this time. I'm going to hold it for about 10 seconds, and then I'm going to slowly breathe out. That's the entire process. If everything is working correctly with this little machine with no moving parts, you'll hear a gurgling in the machine. I'm not sure if you can hear it on this recording. The audio isn't so wonderful here, but I can hear it very clearly, and my hearing is pretty lousy. So if I can hear the gurgling, I suspect you probably can hear it in the video. And that's pretty much all there is to it. What I then do is I set it down on my counter, typically in the kitchen where I return for meals and coffee or tea or slice of toast during the course of the day. And then I pick up the iodine inhaler and I take a couple of puffs on it, and then I go back to my work. And in my case, I do that probably 8 or 10 times a day. I don't count them, but I'm sure it's at least 8, maybe it's 10. Sometimes it might be 12. I might occasionally neglect it for half a day or something like that. And the benefit is very significant. And it happens in 3 different ways. One of the remarkable things about our construction, anatomical construction of the head, is that inside your mouth is the only place in the entire body where you have a direct channel to the brain. There is a group of nerves in the roof of the mouth that actually pick up iodine as you breathe it in and transmit it directly to the brain. And interestingly, that feature of our anatomy is currently being used, experimented with, for the delivery of certain types of drugs that we want to get into the brain without going through the stomach. So it goes directly into the brain. And the benefits of this in terms of cognition, cognitive performance, and clarity of thinking are incalculable. One of the things that we don't often recognize and that people who focus on the thyroid don't really understand is that iodine has an enormous impact on the brain in 2 ways. One is through inhalation. If you happen to live on the coast of Sardinia or Ikaea in the Greek islands, or in Okinawa in the Japanese islands, you will breathe air that's loaded with iodine. It comes from sea breezes blowing across seaweed beds that are rich in iodine. And the iodine goes into the air, and the inhabitants of those happy islands breathe the iodine in the air. It goes into their heads through the roof of the mouth. It goes into their lungs, gets distributed into the blood, where it is both present as a small fraction of molecular iodine and a larger fraction of iodide transformed by the fluid in the lungs into the iodide anion of iodine, and circulates and is available for a variety of processes to every organ in the body via the blood. Principal organ, of course, that needs and must have iodine is the thyroid, located here, wrapped around the upper trachea. And every organ in your body, without exception, every endocrine organ, every non-endocrine organ, we call these exocrine organs, needs iodine, and it uses it for a broad range of processes. Every cell in every organ of the body needs iodine for the purposes of homeostasis, the principles of metabolic sustenance, and the actual breathing and functionality of the cells and their replication. Iodine participates enormously in the birth of cells, new cells, and the death of cells. Some of our cells replace themselves quite frequently. Our blood cells have a fairly rapid turnover rate every 120 days. Many of our organs have a slower turnover rate, but they all have a turnover rate, save for the brain, which only adds cells and doesn't destroy them. For the entire body, it is absolutely necessary that we have cell turnover. It's a principle we call senescence, by which cells die. And when they die, our biochemical processes cause them to be replaced. When we replace them, they are younger and healthier and of better functionality, and absolutely necessary to our well-being. And that constant replacement of cells is a critical function. It does not happen in the absence of iodine. The truth is, we don't need very much iodine. We need only a tiny amount. A tiny, tiny amount. Probably a lot more than the current recommended daily allowance of approximately 150 micrograms for an adult. We probably need many, many times more than that. The so-called upper limit, recommended upper limit, is 1,100 micrograms of iodine. And our need is probably beyond that. But you can safely take in 1,000 micrograms a day without bothering the worries of any endocrinologist on the planet, regardless of how charmed he or she is by the recommendations made by the Food and Drug Administration and Health and Human Services, which came into effect 75 years ago when we knew very little about the functionality and importance of iodine. My suggestion is that you inhale from your iodine inhaler at least 10 times a day. Whenever it's easy for you to do it, take it to work with you. I wouldn't keep it loaded up with liquid. I'd pour it out and fill it up at work. But finally, just a quick word about maintenance. It's probably a good idea to separate the two pieces of the inhaler and rinse them out, just with regular, clean, warm water. I wouldn't use soap. I wouldn't use anything but water. And rinse it out so they're clean and tidy. And then pour in a fresh bottle of the iodine liquid that we supply with it. Typically, I replace the iodine in my inhaler about once a month. You will draw the iodine out of the fluid, therefore it's useful to replace it once a month. It becomes depleted, the fluid of iodine, as you use it, slowly depleted. But it's quite safe to replace it once a month. If you need refills, drop us a note. will provide them. We only charge shipping. If you drop the inhaler and it breaks, and it will, if you drop it, it will break. We'll replace it for free. Try not to drop it. There's virtually nothing that can go wrong with it. There are rubber seals that may, over time, degrade. If that happens, there is a set of replacement seals, and I can help you figure out how to use them if you really need to. But your inhaler should last a good solid year or even 2 without any problem. If you have any questions, give me a call. I'm available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 and a quarter days a year. I'm at 305-667-9375 here in Miami, Florida. And I'll always be glad to hear from you, always. I don't care if you call at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm rather used to that. That's what happens when you have children and grandchildren. And that's what happens when you work with doctors, as I do almost every day of my life. They have emergencies, and those emergencies need to be taken care of. Sorry for my doggies. They're in the background there, barking at somebody outside the window. Okay, Zeke, that's enough now. Hey, it's enough. They worry. They're dogs. They're protected. I guess they're really worried. Thank you. Forgive me. Forgive them. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can calm them down. No, now stop. Now stop. 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 That's enough. Sorry about that. You know, you'll know that this is a real live video. I'm not some avatar. Dogs really like their home, and they are really very protective. So you've got a glimpse into my home life as well. I have 3 dogs. I hope you have a dog, or 2 or 3. They're really good for your health in so many ways I can't begin to describe. And in conjunction with iodine, your dogs will keep you healthy, as your iodine will. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call. You can email me at erosov, E-R-O-S-O-V, @gmail.com, or erosov @iodineproducts.com. Anytime. I'll be glad to write to you. I'll be glad to send you articles that support the use of the iodine inhaler and its remarkable efficacy and the importance of iodine in the control of a wide range of diseases, both chronic and infectious diseases, non-infectious and infectious diseases. It's a remarkable substance, and it is my honor and privilege to have studied it for the last 20 years, and I love to share my accumulated knowledge and hopefully its wisdom with you anytime you would like. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm really very, very pleased to have met you, and thanks for listening.